Hey guys, Joe High from Joe High Photography here. You can check out my website at joehigh.com. I'm back with another video and another do-it-yourself tutorial. We're going to be doing this setup today. In case you can't tell, we're going to be converting some negatives. This is about as MacGyver as you can get. I've got a cardboard softbox here. I've got a makeshift film holder made out of old mat board and a couple books holding it up. Now, when you're converting your negatives, you have three choices. You can pay someone else to do it at a lab where they can scan the film and print and do whatever you need to do with it. Or you can scan it yourself if you have a scanner. If you do have a scanner, use it. But I don't. And that brings us to the third option, which is what you see here. Basically, you're going to be using your digital camera to take a picture of your negative with a light source shooting through that negative and into your camera. So what you're going to end up with is the reverse, the negative, of your picture. And this works well if you have some old film lying around from way back when, or if you have slides, then you'll actually end up with a positive. But what you're going to need for this is, of course, some film. You're going to need a digital camera. You're going to need an even light source, emphasis on even, and you're going to need some photo editing software. So let's get started with this. Basic setup. Somehow you need to hold your film steady and straight in front of your light source. You need some sort of a light source. In this case, I have a speed light that's going to be triggered wirelessly, and I have some paper on the inside and on the outside to give it an even diffusion. That is key. If you try to do this in front of a light bulb or something, you might have issues, because if you get an uneven light source behind the negative, you're going to have an uneven exposure when you convert your negative to a positive. And parts of the image will be darker than others, and you might get weird vignettes and stuff like that. So you want it to be as even as possible. A window would work well, possibly a screen, TV screen, computer screen, something like that. People have used an iPad before. There's lots of ways that you can do this. This is the way that works best for me. You do not need to have very expensive equipment to do this. You don't have to have a speed light. You could do it with a regular light. You just need to make sure that you get that light source even. That's the most important part. If you do have the equipment, then you're probably going to have easier results. Maybe not better in the long run, but it'll probably be easier to get good results. So a couple things to keep in mind besides an even light source is that you want your film to be as perpendicular as possible to the straight line that you can imagine coming out of the lens of your camera. If your film is turned like this, you're going to be squishing your picture, so be careful of that. Also, you're going to want to make sure to get any dust off of your negatives, otherwise those are going to show up and it's going to be something that you're going to have to clear up later, more work for you. You don't want to do that if you can avoid it. You probably will have to do some though. Another thing to keep in mind is that you want your negatives to stay flat. That's why I have this set up here. It's not much, it's just mat board. If you have a clip from an enlarger, use that, that's perfect. I didn't, so I just cut out the shape that I needed out of mat board. But it does the job. It's going to keep your negative flat. The reason for that is that you're going to get very close to the negative. You're going to fill the negative, or fill the frame with your negative. And if it's bent, then you might have issues focusing on one part of the negative, and then if it's curved like this, to make it more dramatic than it probably is. If you focus on this point, and this still has some of your image in it, then this is going to be blurry and this is going to be clear. So you want it to be flat so you can get one plane of focus. Details like that are going to give you better pictures in the long run. All right, so once you've taken your photo, you're going to get a result something like this. Obviously not exactly what you want, got some ugly edges on here, so this is where you need your photo editing software to correct these issues. Now I'm using Camera Raw. You can use Photoshop, you could probably use some freeware software, you can use whatever you want, but these are the things you're going to need to do. First of all, you're going to need to crop your image, get rid of the sprocket holes, get rid of the rough edges, straighten everything out. I apologize for the noise downstairs, but here's what we're going to do. So, all right, so I've just cropped the image, leave that, rotate it, and this is a black and white image, so I'm going to convert it to grayscale. Okay, now in Photoshop you can just add an invert filter and invert everything, or if you want to use a curves adjustment like this, you can just take a straight line going from the bottom left hand corner to the bottom or the top right hand corner and reverse that, just like so. Now you have a positive of your image. So that's simple enough, but now we need to go through and just make it pop. Now this is in Camera Raw. Keep in mind everything in here, this is going to be tricky because everything is now backwards, and you'll notice if you drag the lights and make the lights darker, you're actually making the shadows brighter, because remember, you've worked with a negative. So I'm gonna pop this over like so. Gonna bring the darks up a bit, which actually brings the lights up a bit, and bring the shadows, make them a little darker, which actually makes the highlights brighter. Keep in mind, again, everything is backwards. I'm gonna pop it kind of like that. Okay, cool. And that is pretty much it. You can go in, and if you want to get rid of, you know, different specks and stuff, these are actually not dust. This is actually not dust on the frame. It's just stuff I didn't want in the shot. But there you go. Now, if you are watching this and you say, hey, I know those people, it's probably because you are in the cast of The Secret Garden. And thank you guys for watching this. Shout out to you all. I really enjoyed working with you. To everyone else who doesn't know, that is what I was doing for the past month. Well, mostly. I was on the road last week with another project, but I was in the cast of The Secret Garden, and it was lots of fun, but it was a lot of time, and that's why I couldn't do any videos. These are two of the kids in the play. Actually, they're the only two kids who had roles in the play. This is girl who played Mary Lennox, and this is the girl who played Colin Craven. Yes, the girl played a boy, but that is why she's in the wheelchair here, and this is just them goofing around during a rehearsal. I brought my film camera to most every rehearsal, and if you are in the cast of Secret Garden, don't worry, I do have the rest of the photos to show. There will be a whole gallery available to you guys, so thank you for watching. That's going to be your little reward, but I will send that to you guys in a private message. Anyway, so that is how you convert your negatives into positive digital files. Okay, so there you have it. Definitely a makeshift way of doing this setup, but it works and it was free. You do not need to have the same equipment that I had in this video. I know I had a Canon DSLR with a pretty nice lens, and I didn't actually have a macro lens. I just used an extension. So keep that in mind. An extension tube for your lens would help, but even if you don't have those, you can probably do this with just a point and shoot camera, maybe a smartphone, not really sure. Try it, let me know in the comments below how you've done these sort of things. Give me some ideas, go for it. Help other people out too who are trying to convert their negatives. Anyways, that is the video for this week. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, there are more videos to come, and there's more videos that have been done in the past. So click that subscribe button that just magically popped up on the screen, and I will see you next week with another video. See you guys.